Hello and welcome to another episode of Alex's Notes from the Middle. I am your host, Alex Light, and I am so happy and grateful that you're here today. Last week, I took off to celebrate my birthday, which was amazing. I know I said in my last episode that I was like, birthdays, like, I'm not used to celebrating them. Like, I've always kind of been disappointed. I've had good things happen, but like, the majority of them have been like, but this year was awesome. So I just said, I want to go to a baseball game. I love baseball and dinner. Like just me and Eric and my family and whoever else wants to come. And he actually surprised me with some of our friends and I felt so loved and appreciated and it was so easy and I just I can't get past it. So yeah, I decided that I was going to take some more time with my friends last week and celebrate things, and I didn't record an episode. And you know what? That's okay. And you know why it's okay? Because we are working to build our dream lives, right? And part of building our dream lives is getting to take time to do the things that we love socially, as well as like building blocks. So I have to live like I preach. And part of what I preach is like doing things that make you happy. And that is what makes me happy. Like everybody is stuck in this mindset of hustle and bustle. That's not how it's supposed to be. That's not how it's supposed to be. We are not like ants preparing for a rainstorm or the winter time. We are not. We are supposed to live our lives like appreciating nature and being with those we love and everything like that, like taking time to slow down and appreciate this life because we only are given this one life. And so I lived it a bit. I did. And it was great. I mean, I continued into a Sunday fun day and I haven't Sunday fun dayed in a long time. And it was really nice. And yeah, I feel good. I feel so good on the inside. I don't Oh, also, speaking of Sunday, Sunday was the summer solstice. So, happy summer, everybody. I am totally a spring baby. I love when it changes from the cold and starts fading into the warm, and the days get longer, and flowers are in bloom, and that's when the summer and springtime birds start flying in and butterflies, and I get to go outside and watch my bats. I I really love springtime. But seasons change and we get into summer, and I appreciate summer. I don't like that the days start getting shorter because I love sunshine. So I'm like, okay. Okay. So that was probably a weird break. My alarm I forgot to shut my alarm off before I started recording. It's fine. I got up early this morning. I beat my alarm by a solid 45 minutes and I was like, "You know what? I'll just get up." That was my body's way of saying, "Hey, get up. Go have your day. I'm awake. I'm happy. I didn't want to lay back down." Cuz sometimes, okay, taking a different turn real quick. Do you guys find that when you get up in the morning and then you lay back down and you're like, I feel like kind of awake, but I think I could maybe use some more sleep because your body hasn't like fully adjusted into taking on the day yet? Do you like go back to bed and then wake up grumpy? Because I totally do. Or sometimes I'll wake up and I'm more tired than I was if I would have just stayed up. So I just get up. Like if I'm up at 5 a.m., I'm just gonna wake up and I'm gonna start my day. There's I have a harder time getting out of bed if I snooze my alarm sometimes. So, yeah. Anyway, summer solstice, right? The summer solstice spiritually, and this is from Spiritual Gangster, represents the peak of solar energy, symbolizing illumination, vitality, and the triumph of light over darkness. It is a potent time for personal growth, honoring your inner light and celebrating the fullness of life as nature and your own intentions reach their most radiant bloom. Because everything's blooming, right? Everything's blooming right now. If I go outside and I look at my tomato plants, oh, there's flowers all over them. So the fruiting begins. I think start calling things the fruiting. What movie is that? There is a movie where he talks about the fruiting. I'm gonna look it up real quick because it's a fruiting. We'll see. It was a run by fruiting. Oh yeah, Mrs. Doubtfire. Oh, so great. That guy gets hit in the back of the head with the orange. Okay, I'm gonna have to watch that movie again. It's a drive-by fruiting. Anyway, so I've only been talking for 3 minutes in this half. Oh no, I restarted my. Okay, I was like, how long have I been talking? Because if I already made it to drive-by fruiting, I don't know if it can get much more peak today than that. But here we go. You're gonna try. So the key spiritual themes, illumination and awakening with the sun at its highest point, the longest day of the year is viewed as a time of spiritual awakening. It represents clarity, truth, and shining a light on your personal power. Across many ancient traditions, this time is honored for the earth's fertility. So, we talk about the fruiting, the vegetables, the fruits, everything is already starting to blossom and bloom and gets to the point where it's going to start feeding us. So it celebrates the bounty of nature, physical vitality, and the fruits of your hard labor. I need to find something where if I could just have like an orange go across the screen. The cycle of time, the solstice carries a profound teaching. At the exact moment of peak light, the slow descent back towards darkness begins. It reminds us of nature's cycles, trusting the periods of both expansion and rest. So, connection to the elements, it is strongly tied to the element of fire and the solar plexus chakra, making it an ideal time to ignite your passions and strengthen your sense of self. Ooh, I love that. So, strengthening your sense of self. That's been like a key theme for the Geminis this past like 6 months is like strengthening ourselves, strengthening our voice, getting heard, getting ourselves out there and following our dreams and living in the abundance that we are supposed to be living in. Yeah. So, ways that one like observes doing the summer solstice, practicing gratitude, it says number 1 on here. Pause to recognize what spring intentions have taken root and matured in your life before the season shifts. Obviously, this is coming out after the summer solstice, but it's still a good time. And honestly, when when I read things about the summer solstice and the spring equinox and any of that, like, yes, it is a time in the calendar, right? It is a time the earth is giving us to kind of like have a key starting point. But even though we've already passed the solstice, if you didn't do anything, why not start today? because there's no time like the present to start living the life that you've always wanted to live. So just start now. Start working towards that. Don't say, oh, well, I missed it. I guess I'm going to have to wait till next year. Bullshit. No, you don't. You get back on that freaking horse and go towards your dreams, okay? Well, it passed. I guess I just missed it. No, you didn't. My God, it's not a freaking. You can even book a different flight if you miss your flight, okay? You just take a different route. Things are not over. You just take a different route. Figure something else out. Refine your plan. So I'm going to read this quote real quick. And I don't know who wrote this. It says greeting cards underneath it. But I liked it and it made me happy. And I'll put it over here to the side. Midsummer's Eve. Midsummer's Eve, the blessing of light with the longest day and the shortest night. The earth as it turns, the spin of the wheel, the planet's way to restore and heal. Replenish your spirit in the light and the glow and rejoice in the seasons, rhythm and flow. May you find peace and may you find health in the bounty of the sun's light and wealth. And as the wheel turns to shorter days, may bliss be yours in the coming phase. Isn't that nice? I like it. I'm going to turn this. I like that. It's just easy and simple. Have you guys ever read A Midsummer's Night Dream by William Shakespeare? If you haven't, you should. It's really good. There's also the movie that came out in like the early 2000s with Michelle Pfeiffer and Stanley Tucci. Let's see. Ooh, 1999. It's a good one. Actually, A Midsummer's Night Dream is my favorite William Shakespeare play. And I don't know, like, do kids still like learn about William Shakespeare and literature and everything? Or is that something that's kind of gone by the wayside? Because I loved learning about William Shakespeare. I thought he was like he was so cool for his time. Anyway, but that talks about the magic of summer and everything. I love it. So let's see. I love some of these questions on here. What is the pagan meaning of summer solstice? Should Christians celebrate the summer solstice? Why is the summer solstice so special? How to manifest on the summer solstice? And we just click into this one. I'm really curious what it has to say. Manifesting on summer solstice, harness the sun's peak energy to ignite your goals, celebrate growth, and call in the abundance. Duh. Always calling in abundance. I was asked about vibrations and like how to vibrate on a higher level, and it really starts with belief. Because everything inside of you is at a lower vibration when you are being negative, right? Do you remember that chart that I put up a while ago where it talked about the different levels of your vibration? So like even I didn't have this ready at all because I was not going to talk about this, but vibration chart. Because of course, apathy, that's the one I was going towards. So you have neutrality, courage, pride, anger, desire, fear, grief, apathy, guilt, and shame that are all low. And so when talking about like vibrations and talking about abundance and bringing in abundance, you have to vibrate at a higher level in order to bring in abundance. And so you start by meditating. And so many people ask about meditating, or they're like, meditating is not for me. Meditating is something you have to practice every day. Take 15 minutes, close your eyes, and eventually you get to the point where it's like becomes this routine that you have to do. And I need to get better about getting into my meditation routine again. But I love meditating. I love the breath work. I actually lay on my back when I do mine, and I put on some high frequency music that you can find it on YouTube anywhere. Just like look up high frequency music, high vibration. There'll all be this stuff that's like bring in abundance of wealth, bring in abundance of love, bring in an abundance of all this stuff. And I obviously know that having a high vibration works and bringing in abundance works, because the one thing that I had let go of and I had to trust the process on was finding love, because I did not think for a long time that I was worthy. And so that's how I got started in this whole process of being a life coach and following my dream and not wanting to live for other people anymore, but living for myself and my son. And so I let go and I made a promise to myself, and I truly folded in the cheese. I folded into the idea of believing that I was perfectly good alone. I was my whole self alone. I was able to be my full self. I started vibrating at this high level, and all of a sudden, love found me because I gave in and trusted the universe's process. And there it was. Like, you just have to, and it seems so simple and so complicated at the same time, because I'm like sitting here like, well, you just had to vibrate at a higher level. And you're like, well, how the F do I do that? You start believing that it's true. You start truly believing on your inside and your core of core that it's for you. You believe that you are. You are. When you say I am is so, so powerful. Because if you say I am gross, I am ugly, I am boring, you are speaking that into existence. Why would you speak to yourself like that? Would you go to your friend and tell them that you are a loser? You are ugly. You are, enter negative context. No, you wouldn't speak to your friend like that. So don't speak to yourself like that. You are your most important project. You are your most important project. You are what's most important in your life. You have to work on you. You have to vibrate at a higher level. You have to get your shit figured out before you can take on somebody else's BS. You do. It's not your responsibility to heal other people unless you know how to heal yourself first. And I'm a shining example of that. I started healing myself first. I might not be at my end goal, but I started the process. And so, like I said last week, holding the lantern. You can be one step ahead of somebody and hold the lantern for them and still guide them, because you are starting the process. And sometimes it's easier when you're on your journey to help others on their journey, but you have to get there first. Like you have to get to the belief system first. You have to believe in yourself. You have to start speaking to yourself better. Eric said something negative about himself the other day, and I said, don't talk to my person like that. Don't talk to my person like that. How dare you? You wouldn't let your friend say something like that about or you wouldn't let somebody say that about your friend. Why would you let them say that about themselves? Don't talk to my person like that. That's not how it goes. I think I don't remember, but I think I talked about Graham learning to ride his bike and how I taught him how to talk to himself in that moment. because he didn't learn how to ride his bike until last summer, and that kid rides his bike everywhere now, which now that I think about it, we have to go to his grandparents' house to get his bike back because he rode it he rode it over there the other day. But he was really having a hard time riding his bike, and he was like in such a negative mindset. And this is how I know that the power of speaking to yourself works, and it works to up your vibrations. So it's how you speak to yourself. He said, "I can't do it." And I said, "Yes, you can." I said, "I know you can do it. I know you can." And I said, "Do you want to ride this bike?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "Do you want to ride this bike?" He said, "Yes." And I said, "So say it." And he goes, "I want to ride this bike." I said, "Now change your wording. I'm riding this bike." I said, "Start believing that you're going to ride your bike. Like, start truly believing, I am going to ride this bike. I am going to ride this bike." I said, "Okay, you are going to ride this bike." Said, "Now say, I'm riding this bike." And he's like, "I'm riding this bike. I'm riding this bike." And he started speaking to himself. And it wasn't 10 minutes. And that kid was riding his freaking bike. This is a kid that could not ride his bike. Within 10 minutes was out there riding his bike. Now it's harder for an adult. It's harder for an adult because we have had more years of talking down to ourselves, more years of belief that we were not worthy, more years of belief and doubt. Kids, they believe so much sooner. That's why a lot of kids see spirits and stuff. Like, maybe you don't believe in ghosts. I absolutely believe in ghosts. I absolutely believe in spirits. I absolutely believe that there is a divine that is speaking to us. The universe is speaking to us. The spirits are speaking to us. You don't just die and go nowhere. Your soul still floats around. I truly believe that. And so, like, with kids, they're under that set of like, I believe in this, and they see things and they talk to things. I mean, a story about my sister. When we lived at my grandparents' house when I was younger, when my parents started building our house that I grew up in, apparently she was like standing at the bottom of the stairs talking to somebody. And when she was asked who she was talking to, it was the guy who died in the house, and she didn't know about him. She didn't know that that dude died in the house. She was just talking to him. It's because kids believe and kids can see. If you believe enough in yourself, think of the power that that has. Upping your vibration, think of the power that that has in your life. That's an enormous, enormous gift to get to the point where you start speaking things into existence. Speak your dream into existence. Know that you're worthy for your dreams, and start meditating and truly getting into that headspace of like, I am. Not I am going to, not I want to, not I am whatever. Say, I am this. I am this. And speak it every day to yourself multiple times a day until you get to the point where you actually believe that you are that. Get your mindset into an abundant mindset, and abundance will come. It's so complicated and so simple at the same time. And the reason it's so complicated is because you are conditioned to believe that you're not. So you have to condition yourself to believe that you are. And when you start conditioning yourself to believe that you are, you start vibrating at that higher level, and the universe is like, here you go. These tools were there for you all along. You can finally just see them. You can finally see what you have been worthy of your entire life. But now you truly believe in yourself. I think that's beautiful. I was watching I love Glee. I'm such a Gleek. Like I love Glee so much. I don't even know if that's what they call themselves, but that's what I'm going to call it, even though I know that's a weird like spit thing that your mouth does. We're going with it today. I just thought about the fruiting again. It was a drive-by fruiting. Anyway, so Glee, Rachel Berry is like the most annoying person on the planet. But she's annoying because she believes in herself so much that people are like, ugh, I can't stand this person. You can't stand that person because of your own insecurities. She is working towards her goals and her dreams every single day and working towards being the greatest of the great every single day. And that's intimidating to people. And I will tell you, when you start this process of believing in yourself and you start getting to the point where you don't put up with things from other people anymore, they will have a problem with it. But that is because they see their own insecurities. And that's because they are uncomfortable with themselves. It's not a you problem. That's a them problem. And I talked to a customer at work about that yesterday because I am a person when I'm working in my yard and I need something from Menards or from like Home Depot, I'm a Midwesterner. Come on, we save big money at Menards, okay? So I go into Menards, I am in my clothes covered in grass still wearing my gardening boots. I call them my gardening boots. They're cute little polka dotted rain boots. But I work in the yard in them and my hair is messy. Usually I have dirt on my face. It actually makes Eric laugh when I get really dirty because I am like, I love being outdoors and being dirty. There's just something that's like, it revives me to be out in the dirt and the mud. Anyway, but I will go to Menards in my clothes that are nasty and dirty. And sometimes I get looks. And this guy came in the store yesterday and he grabbed some paintbrushes and he was in his paint clothes. And I was like, wearing your fancy clothes today, huh? And he goes, oh, I've not even started painting yet. And I said, I'm here for it. And he goes, sometimes I get nervous about going places looking like this. You know what? I'm totally past that because I said, that's a them problem. And he goes, you're right. I said, thank you. Thank you. And it was just a great conversation because he was just like the nicest guy ever. And, yeah, he's like, you're right. I was like, yeah. I said, I'm going to go out wearing what I want to wear. And if somebody has a problem with it, that's a them problem. I said, I'm out working in my yard, working my ass off. I need something in that moment. I'm not taking a half hour to come inside, get myself cleaned up, to run to the store, to pick up something, to come back home, to be back in my dirt soon. I'm not going to take that extra time. When that's time that I could be spending in my yard again, because it could take me, or I could get completely sidetracked and then it takes me even longer because I come inside, I get changed, and then what if somebody's like, hey, you want to go to dinner? Well, I'm already changed, like, sure. And then before I know it, I'm not back out in my yard working on what I was working on and finishing my project. I am doing something completely different. So if somebody has a problem with, I guess, back to the point at hand. If somebody has a problem with you going after your dream and you seeing more worth in yourself and you not putting up with their bullshit anymore, that is a them problem. That is not a you problem. So you need to get over that need to be a people pleaser, because by being a people pleaser and doing things to make other people feel comfortable, you are hurting yourself and you are your biggest project. Maybe that's going to be the name of this episode. Summer equinox or your biggest project. I'll come up with it. I've got a few days before this releases. I'll do some edits and things. Maybe, if I feel like it. I will. Because this is my dream and this is what I want to do. And if people have a problem with it, that's not my problem. You can go away. I've said that so many times. If people have a problem, there's the door. I have no problem excusing people from my life. I really don't. Like sometimes certain ones hurt more than others, but I Nick Miller myself out of there. I don't know if I've talked about that before, but Graham and I talk about Nick Millering. You know, if you've ever watched New Girl, and when he's in a situation he doesn't want to be in, he'll moonwalk out of the room. Graham starts moonwalking out of the room. It's really hard not to laugh because he like is a little comedian. Like, oh, it's my favorite. Anyway, so those high vibrations, right? And I'll put the chart up again about the vibration. I did find it again. I'm sure I have it saved somewhere too. Just in the moment, it being 6 a.m., I was like, oh, I don't really know what I did with that. Anyway, just getting to the point where you're above a 200 vibration is the number one goal. Like getting that vibration up, obviously being above a 5, 6, 700, getting to that enlightenment is the end goal for that abundance and really reaching true ultimate consciousness. Like get that expanded vibration, because if you're living your life in the people pleaser, in that desire, in that fear, grief, whatever, if you're constantly living your life in that, you will start believing that. And there is a person that used to be in my life, and he just spreads his negativity everywhere. And I'm like, you get to a point where you're like trying to help somebody and think positive and like be there for them. But then there's just some people who love to live in their misery and they like to be martyrs. And I'm like, you get to a point where you just can't deal with it anymore. You just can't. You're just like, you are a black hole of negativity. I'm sorry, I can't anymore. So, don't feel guilty about that. Don't live with that negativity all the time. And if somebody around you is constantly negative all the time, there's some people that just want to be. That's really harsh sounding. That is really, really harsh sounding, because mental health is a huge issue. Mental health is something like, I want everybody to be happy, and I want everybody to live a life that they would love living, and I want to be there for everybody. But there are people out there who you can try your best to help them in any way that you can, but until somebody is ready and wants a change in their life, you cannot force anybody to do anything. You can try, but you can't. Like, you can support and you can encourage and you can be there for them, but there are some people that just want to live in a negative mindset. And if you have people like that in your life, try to help them. And if they aren't accepting your help, you have to not fall into that. And you have to make sure that you are taking care of you and you are vibrating at a higher level and you are making your dream life come true, because before you know it, you could be the next person sucked in that black hole. Oh my God, my alarm just went off again. This is going well. Before you record a video, make sure that you check your alarms, because even if you are on Do Not Disturb, your alarms will still go off. Although that is a perfect time for me to say goodbye. I have really enjoyed recording this episode today, and I've actually really enjoyed making these every week, and it's getting It's getting easier mentally because when I started, boy, was I scared. I was scared to come up here every day or every week, and I was scared to record these, and I was concerned what people thought. And as I started to go through it, I'm like, why? Why do I care? As I really don't. I really don't. I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this for me. And to those of you who have reached out and it has helped, I am so glad that these episodes have helped you. I am so glad that watching my journey and developing has helped you realize your worth or your journey or helped you relate in any way so you know that you're not alone. Because that's why I started this. And this past week from the last episode I recorded, I've had quite a few people reach out because I talked about imposter syndrome. And the fact that so many have reached out and so many have said, oh my God, keep going. That means everything to me. It means everything. Because if I do this and it helps one person, my goal is accomplished. I just don't want people to feel alone. And I want people to know that there's so much beauty in the world and so much light in the world. And from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate every single one of you. I truly do, because you show up here. Maybe this is your first time. Maybe you're here week after week. But either way, thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for helping my dream come true. I hope that you have an amazing weekend. I hope that you get out and you get to enjoy the sunshine, the warmth, and I will see you next week. And I just hope that you just have the most amazing, amazing time. Love you all.